Hello, and welcome to Tactical Startup. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about how going crazy can help your business. Now, we're going to talk about this in a larger context of politics and how politics has affected businesses and their crazy factor. Let's get started. You're listening to Tactical Startup, a podcast dedicated to building amazing businesses. I'm your host, Taylor Darcy. In this podcast, we explore ways to innovate, improve, and level up your business through sales, marketing, automation, and business planning. Successful businesses pivot when times are bad and stay the course when times are good. We will have guests from different walks of life to help you see that success is not only possible, but even probable, no matter when or where you start. Through hard work and strategic planning, you can have the entrepreneurial life you've always dreamed. Tune in weekly to level up your business. All right, so hear me out on this. There is a congressperson named Marjorie Taylor Greene. I like the name Taylor. But other than that, Marjorie and I probably have the most different viewpoints you could possibly imagine. She is a right-wing conservative from a Georgia district, and she has some very unique views. Things of QAnon, very extreme conspiracy theories, things that are unfounded. She is a Trump supporter, and I'm not going to be talking about her politics, but she is the only reason why I know her name is because of the things that she is saying that are extreme and outrageous and full of inaccuracies. She has approached people that and harassed them. Students of the Parkland shooting that survived, that were at Congress. She was talking about space lasers and how it was some huge Jewish conspiracy. But I wouldn't know that. In other words, I wouldn't even know who she was if it weren't for the crazy things that she's saying. I bring this to you, I talk to you about this because I want you to be aware that being crazy, and I don't necessarily mean that literally, but taking a strong stance for right or wrong. And what do I mean by that? For instance, look at the politicians who are memorable. Look at the businesses that are memorable. Okay? How can you become memorable? I wouldn't know anything about Marjorie Taylor Greene if it hadn't have been for that. If it hadn't have been for her crazy episodes, for her saying wildly inaccurate conspiracy theories. So what can you do in your business to take that stand? Because, there's an old saying that, no publicity is bad publicity, right? Because someone's hearing you. Someone's going to either love you or hate you for it. I mean, former President Trump is an excellent example of that. That's very rare. You find someone that's meh about him. It's typically people can't stand him or they absolutely adore and idolize him. I would love, if anyone knows anybody who is in between on that one, I would love to talk with them about that because I don't know anybody. They love him or they hate him. There's nothing there. But he has a strong base, a base that was willing to assault the Capitol, to try to overturn a free and fair election. I'm not condoning that behavior. I abhor that behavior. I think that's despicable behavior. But my point is that as an entrepreneur, as a consumer, what can you do to create a fan base that is willing, in the proverbial sense, not the literal sense, please don't misunderstand me, that is willing to attempt an overthrow of a government. You will never go out of business if you do that. You will always have people supporting you. Now, I'm not suggesting to give in to the lies, the conspiracy theories, the crazy things, but do the right thing, take a stand for the right things and the right reasons, and let people know about that. Be truthful in your responses to them, whatever they may be. Create a fan base. Do things that are worth creating a fan. Most celebrities, most people, you don't know them. They don't know you. You're a fan of them because of the way that you make them feel, or they make you feel. You like someone, not because you've had, like, for instance, the people that I watch on TV. You grow a certain affinity for them, character-wise. I mean, think of any good TV show. You're not really liking the person. You're liking the character that the writers and the camera is showing you. That person could be a total jerk for all you know in real life. And it's very true. There are quite a few stars that are quite the divas that have the amazing things, but you still love them no matter the fact that they're a diva because of the way that they make you feel. Their music inspires you. Their acting makes you smile. They're beautiful. I mean, things of that nature. These are all things that you can do in your business to build that fan base, to build those people, to create that unique experience that no one else can create. See, when you try to be Walmart, they trade on volume, right? They are betting on the fact that they are going to be the cheapest person, the cheapest company that exists. That's how they win, right? So you can go to Walmart and save tons of money, but their experience stinks. I've yet to be to a Walmart where I'm like, yeah, that was the best experience ever. That never happens. But you go to Nordstrom's and they treat you like a king, even if you look like a bum. Doesn't matter what you look like. You walk in there and, at least for me, I mean, this is my experience. I'm not saying that this is true for everyone. I don't think everyone is. But you walk into a Nordstrom's and it's, how can we help you? Here's this. Here's that. How can we make your day better when shopping? I had one experience in specific. I bought a pair of shoes and I really liked these shoes, but the heel was falling apart on them. Now, this was several years later. These were not brand new shoes. But Nordstrom said, oh, you know what? They've had a problem with those shoes and they're on recall. And so let's just exchange them out. Piece of cake. I mean, this was well past any type of expiration date of any type of return. I don't even know if they even looked it up in the system that I bought them there. I don't remember. It's been a long time since then. But my overall point with this is that when you make someone feel a certain way, they remember that. And that's what you do, because you never have to worry about competing on price in your business. Because people don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's this great orator. They like how she makes them feel, that their voices are heard, because she believes that stuff that's crazy, right? She validates them. You validate your customer. You validate your client. And you're going to have a win every time. You make their life better in some way. You make them feel better about what they're doing, how their life is. And you will have a client for life. When I'm working with a client, there's a lot of attorneys that, it's all business and no talk. They never talk about their families. They never talk about what's going on with them. I don't get too personal because I still want to maintain that professional relationship. But, my clients know that I have 4 kids, that I'm married. I love having relationships with my clients, not just transactional. I like helping their business build, not just take. There's a lot of attorneys that are just focused on what's in it for them. And, I get that from a certain perspective. But I had a client one time who had worked with another law firm for a contract, and the contract was $7,000. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. It was so expensive. But I won them. They're worth me now. Not because of price, but because I care. Because I'm willing to take the time to get to know my client and listen to them. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm not maintaining that I do this all the time or forever. But, I genuinely like my clients. My clients are people that I get to help with their business for one way or the other. So when you're thinking about your business, don't just think about the product or service that you have to offer. Think about the experience that you can develop to create that feeling. Be Nordstrom's. Create that feeling of inclusion, that whoever your ideal client is what matters most to you. Build your pricing around that, whatever that is. What do I mean by that? I'm in a Facebook group, and one of the lawyers was talking about the price that they charge for a divorce. And everybody was talking about the price and not the value. Or rather, they weren't talking about the client that they wanted to specifically help. If you want to help a lot of clients, then your price needs to be one thing. If you want to take more time with those clients and spend and help clients that are of a different nature, then your price should be something different. Client-centered pricing. Pick that ideal client. And the same thing goes for any business that you may have. Take the time to get to know your ideal client and then go crazy with it. Show them how important they are to you. And everything that you do, you will create an amazing, that's one of the reasons why I created this podcast, was to help as many people as humanly possible, because I know people can listen to this. So I share legal and tips on my YouTube channel, and I share management and growth and development on my podcast, so that there's a variety, for one thing, but more importantly, so that there's only one of me, but there can be thousands of you that I can help influence to grow your businesses. Be that company. Be that person. If people forget who you are, it's because you didn't create a memorable and lasting experience with them. If you lose business, that's why. No one will forget Marjorie Taylor Greene. No one will forget President Trump. Just, they won't. Now, for good or for bad, right? No publicity is bad publicity. He has a fan base. Or his policies, I'm not going to comment on the politics of it. I'm talking on the marketing perspective. The more memorable you are, the more extreme, the more outrageous you are, the more memorable you'll be. Now, don't get in trouble. Don't break any laws. I'm not suggesting you do any of that. But there's an attorney in Texas. I don't remember his name, but I know his videos are extreme and crazy. And he's quite memorable. I don't remember him because I don't pay attention to Texas. But if I was in Texas, I would pay attention to him. But I remembered him enough to think about him for this show. So think about these things. When you're trying to be marketing, the last thing you want to do is be like everybody else. Do you know how many attorneys actually have YouTube channels? Very few. Do you know how many actually post things on a regular basis? Even fewer. Do you know how many attorneys have podcasts? Even fewer. Now, the groups I'm in, they have them. But do they keep them updated? Do they continue to listen? Do they continue to develop new content for them? No. They get busy. They don't make it a priority. They don't schedule the time to update them. And then it ends up falling by the wayside. And I get doing your job and doing the things that you're paid for is a priority, and you should be. But if you're only focused on you, if you're not focused on your client long term, right? Not just on the transaction, but on the relationship. If you're focused on the relationship, you will never go hungry. You will always have someone there because they will appreciate how you make them feel. Because there's a place for people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's a place for people like Trump. Be you. Be the best version of yourself. And I'll tell you, anybody that doesn't like you for being you, would you really want to do business with them? The answer is no. The answer is be you. Big, tall, short, small. I feel like I'm Tom and Jerry commercial or cartoon. Be you. Be the amazing person that you are. Don't be afraid of the haters. Not everybody's going to like you. Just like not everybody likes Marjorie Taylor Greene. Not everybody likes President Trump. There's enough people that do. It got him elected president the first time. It got Marjorie Taylor Greene elected to Congress. Why not be you? What exactly are you afraid of? What are you afraid of that's keeping you from being you? To bring that emotion, that experience that only you can bring, I might add. There is no one else in this world that can bring that same experience in that same way. Only you. You are one in billions. The number that it took for you to get here is infinitesimally small. So why are you so afraid of being you? Are you really afraid that people aren't going to like you? Or are you afraid that you won't like you? Think about it. If you showed the world who you truly were, good, bad, the freckles, the scars, everything, do you think people would love you less or love you more? I would be willing to bet that they would love you more. The more you seem like you, the less perfect, the more likely people will love you for who you are. They'll love your business for what it is. You can't solve every problem. So you focus on the ones that you can. Focus on the things that you can control. One of my favorite sayings is, be patient with yourself and others. Because things always take longer than you'd like and cost more than you'd hope. Think about that. Stop being so hard on yourself. If you haven't gotten your business to where it's supposed to be by the time that somebody else has, you're not running the same race. Worry about yourself. There was a TikTok. Young girl was sitting in her seat, and the father was trying to help her with her seatbelt. And the little girl says, "You worry about yourself. You worry about yourself. You drive." It was adorable. It was hilarious. But it is so true. The only person that you can control is yourself. There is no one else in this world that you can control. No matter what you think you can do or can't do, you can only control yourself. You worry about yourself. You drive. That little girl is hilarious. I would love to have her on my show. Like, I would love to have the parent on the TikTok on my show. But more to the point, I want you to think about that. What steps can you take today, to this moment, after you get finished listening to this podcast? What steps can you take to move forward, to get that experience for your clients and customers? What can you do to build that? Because in the end, if you look just like everyone else, then you'll get what everyone else gets. Your business will become just what every other business becomes. Commodity. That's how you avoid becoming a commodity. By being you. By being the best version of yourself. And I'm not here to tell you what that is. I'm here to tell you that if you're a little odd, that's better than being average. You don't have to be gorgeous like a supermodel to be great. You don't have to be the next Steve Jobs to be a good leader. In fact, I would argue it's better you not. Be the best leader that you can be, the best entrepreneur, the best parent, the best son or daughter. I lost my mother several years ago. And I miss her. I miss getting to see my mom. Don't take the people in your life for granted. Be a better son or daughter, because you may not have them. They may not be here. And you will regret. You will regret the things that you don't do. Make your parents proud of you. I hope my parents are proud of me. I mean, I went to law school, for crying out loud, and became an attorney to help businesses like theirs because of them. You know, we've been in the middle of a pandemic for almost a year, if not a year now. It's draining. It's tiring. We're all tired. We're all stressed. We've had to say goodbye to people that we loved and people that we cared about. Both because we can't be in person, but also because people have died unnecessarily. COVID has touched everyone's life in some way or another this year on the entire planet. Not in a good way, obviously. So I would encourage you, you know, there's a show called Robots. See a need, fill a need. You don't always have to make a better toaster. Because in the end of the day, most toasters just make toast. But what if you created a toaster that made toast and made the person feel better about themselves? I don't know. I'm throwing ideas out here. I know that's random. I get it. My point is, stop thinking about what other people and other things already are or already have, and start worrying about being you and building the best version of yourself to be the best entrepreneur and best business owner possible. Don't stop believing. Thank you, Journey. But don't stop improving. The biggest problem I see is most entrepreneurs, they stop improving. They stop learning. They get to a rut. They get to a place where they think that the complacency is the enemy of greatness. I leave this with you. Be the best version of yourself. There's no one else like you. Take your time. And until next time, remember to think tactfully. We'll see you later. See you next week.